Hey, sweet peeps! It's Thursday and it's time for a writing lesson. What we're going to do today is complete the story. So you don't need to print this page, you just have to look at this page. This is the beginning 2 pages of our story. We're going to read it together and we're going to brainstorm about how we could finish the story. So let's first use our first reading strategy, and that is eagle eye. Right, we want to use our eyes to look at the pictures and get our brain and our schema activated, which helps us read better. So I'm looking at this picture. Does it look like a girl or a boy? A boy. He's got a beard and a mustache, and he's doing something at the table. Is he building Legos? Nope. To me, it looks like he is got a bowl of maybe salad or some kind of food, and he's putting it on a plate. All right, and then this picture, same guy, same boy, and now he's got his plate. There's something on his plate, and what's that he's holding up? A fork. Okay, so now our brain juices are pumping. We're thinking about a guy at the table with some food, plate, and a fork. So now we are ready to try and read. All right, this first word, it's capital because it's at the beginning of the sentence. N, m. Have you ever heard of anybody named Nope. Because guess what? Let's remember that R is super bossy. If you see an R next to an O or an A, he doesn't let them talk. R does all the talking. So this O is not going to say much of anything except or. So n or m. Norm gets, easy breezy. Here's that OR again. Or, so let's sound it out. Orn. Norm gets corn. Oh, so now we know what was in that bowl. I was wrong. It wasn't salad. What was it? Corn. All right, so Norm gets corn. Let's pretend it's a book. We're turning the page. The next page says, then he gets or. There's that OR again. Ork. But you know what? We already knew that was going to say fork because we had already used our eagle eye reading strategy and we figured out that that was a fork. So let's read it with expression. Norm gets corn. Then he gets a fork. Now, what might happen next in this story? So you're not going to write on this piece of paper. We are just going to come up with some ideas about what might happen next. And since you're not here with me, I'm just going to throw out some ideas that I think you might come up with. So after he gets a fork, maybe he eats the corn. So it might be eats the corn. That's one idea. Or maybe Norm is going to pray. Maybe he's going to bless the food. You might could say that. Bless the food. Maybe Norm is going to call his friend to come eat. That could be an end of the story. Now, you're not writing these. We're just coming up with ideas. What if Norm doesn't like corn? What if Norm gives his corn to his dog. That would be a funny story. Norm gives his dog his corn. What? What about maybe Norm is into exercise? Maybe Norm jumps up and does jumping jacks. Whatever way you want to finish the story, you can, but it does have to relate to these first 2 pages. So who has to be in your story on the next page? Norm. Norm, we have to talk about Norm, and we have to talk about what he did at the table after he got a fork. Okay? So you brainstorm your ideas and you think about what you want to write when you finish the story, and grab this page, a blank journal page. So after you have come up with how you want to finish the story, I want you to speak it out loud. I want you to be able to hear yourself say the sentence that you're going to come up with. All right? So I am going to come up with a sentence, and you can't use my sentence. This is only an example. So my example is going to be that Norm burped at the table. How rude. Can you write about Norm burping at the table? No. This is my example for you. So you're not going to write right now. You're watching, right? And when the video is completely over, then you can pick up your pencil. So I want to finish the story and say, Norm burped at the table. I'm going to count those words and say it again. Here I go. Norm burped at the table. How many words is that? Ooh, where's the camera? 5. Watch. Norm burped at the table. So here's my first word. Norm, finger space, burped, finger space, at, finger space, the, finger space, table. Punctuation, right? We have to have a capital letter at the beginning of the sentence. We have to have finger spaces between each word, and we have to have some kind of punctuation at the end of our sentence. So I'm down here because we always write first and then we illustrate. What was the first word in my sentence? Norm. Oh man, I already forgot how to spell norm. But guess what? Norm is on the paper we have right here. Norm. So when you spell norm, it needs to be correct because we can look at the paper. So here I am. I'm starting over here on the top line. The first letter, I had to grab my fat pen so you can see better, is a capital N. Norm, I said O-R-M. Norm, what did I say he was going to do? Norm burped at the table. All right, so I did Norm. I'm going to finger space. Next one is burped. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Burp. Burped. Norm burped. Finger space. At. Finger space. At. Norm burped at the Norm burped at that's 4, only have one more. Table. Norm burped at the table. And if Norm was at my house, he would be in big trouble because that is not nice manners. Norm burped at the table. I have a capital letter. Check. I have a space here, finger space, finger space, finger space. It doesn't look like one old gobbledygook of letters. So there's something I need at the end. I need punctuation. I need to decide, am I asking a question? Norm burped at the table. No, that's not a question. Am I making a statement, just telling Norm burped at the table? Yes, but at my house, if I was sitting at the table with Norm, I would be, Norm burped at the table. So I am excited. I'm raising my voice. So what kind of punctuation am I going to use? I'm going to use a exclamation point. Remember, just a dot, not a lot. Now, this isn't your sentence. So whatever sentence you choose to finish the story, you're going to choose the right kind of punctuation. So I'm going to check it one more time to make sure that what I wrote on the paper still makes sense in my brain. Norm burped at the table. Punctuation. All right. So now I have to illustrate that. Make sure you put your name on the top so I know whose wonderful work it is when you turn it in. Write your name in your very best handwriting. All of your letters on this assignment need to be made correctly. There's not a single letter that you write that starts at the bottom. They all start either at the top or the dash. And the date today is 3 dash 26. So now I have to illustrate Norm burping at the table. And one thing that is important is you don't have to, like when we're in the classroom, I ask you to color these realistically and then so that your picture will match them. Well, I'm not asking you to color these two people, but what you illustrate, you will need to color and it needs to be realistic. So I've got to get a decent picture of Norm, and I'm going to draw my table. So here's some lines, just like his table right here. So, and then let's see, I'm going to give him a hand here. See how that hand is sitting right there at the table? His shirt. Then I'm going to go up and up. And then I'm going to come over here. And there's his hand and his shirt, up and up. He's got some weird looking arms, huh? A little up more. And so I need to make his body, the sides. See, I didn't make his arms quite long enough. And look, Norm has a shirt with a round collar that has a ring. And then he's got a little bit of a neck. Let me move this up. Norm has kind of a square head. And I'm going to put his hair in here. Now, can your Norm have long, crazy hair? No, because that's not the norm in the story that we're illustrating. Your Norm needs to look like Norm on our paper. Let's see, he's got a smile and a beard, but I am going to make his mouth open because he is Mr. Rude. And then I'm going to do one of those cool speech bubbles. Remember, this means as an illustrator that someone is saying something or making a sound. So I'm going to put burp in my speech bubble. Now, in your story, Norm might not be talking. Norm might be eating. Norm might be feeding his dog his corn. Norm might be calling his friend. So your picture is going to show Norm doing those things. And then I'm going to put the little plate in front of Norm and a pile of food, which we know is what? Corn. What color is corn? It's yellow. So when you start to choose colors to illustrate Norm and whatever he's doing, you need to make sure that they are realistic. We're talking about corn. Corn is not green. Corn is not purple. All right, so I'm going to color Norm's face and his neck. I'm going to give Norm some hair. Norm doesn't have green hair, does he? No, that would be a book about a silly person. And then I think I want him to have a blue shirt. Remember, when we color, we only wiggle our fingers. If your whole hand is getting excited and trying to color, put your hand on your wrist, because this is all we're moving. We're making strong fingers, and strong fingers makes beautiful handwriting. It helps you cut with your scissors. It helps you do all kind of things. It even helps you read. Oops, I forgot to color Norm's hands. And I'm not going to color the plate. My plates at my house are white, so I'm going to leave the plate white. I'm going to leave his collar white. My table at home is not white. My table at home is brown. So I'm going to make sure I color. Okay, now what you need to make sure of, what I am checking for your grade is, do you have a capital letter? So if I was grading my paper, and this is what I'm going to do to your paper when you turn it in, but I am going to, yep, check. Started the sentence with a capital letter. All right, finger spacing. Yes, 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 yes. Good. Do I have punctuation at the end? Yes, I do. Can I read the sentence? I want to be able to read it. Your words don't all have to be spelled right. I want you to spell them like we do in class. Just spell it the way it sounds. Don't ask mom or dad or brother and sister, how do you spell? Because you're way smarter than that. Sound it out and write the letters that you hear. Okay? What I want you to write a silly story and not be worried about, oh, I want to say this word, but I don't know how to spell it. You just spell it the way it sounds. The only words that you have to spell correctly are the words that are already in the story. So if your finished the story has fork or norm or corn or gets, you already have all those words to look at. So they should be spelled correctly. All right, so the handwriting part is correct. The other thing that I'm looking for is, did what you illustrate reflect? That means, does it show me what your sentence was about? If I drew a picture, I don't know why it's so fuzzy, of Norm talking on the cell phone calling his friend, would that be okay? No, because that's not what my sentence says. So whatever your sentence says is what you need to illustrate. Remember, write first, then illustrate, and show me your very best handwriting. So now the video is going to be over. You can stop the video. I want you to look at this page again. I want you to read it again. And remember all those ideas we brainstormed about? Maybe he eats the corn. Maybe he's going to pray or bless his food or call his friends. Whichever way you decide to finish the story is great. The more creative, the better. I can't wait to read those. So after you think it up in your head and you know what you're going to write, count those words out. Write your sentence, get your blank journal paper, and write your sentence. Easy breezy, lemon squeezy. When you're finished, give it to mom or dad or someone to attach it and turn in. Remember, you have 1 week to complete this assignment. I'll see you tomorrow.